everybody, welcome back to the Medical Projects YouTube channel. If you're new around here, my name is Olivia. I am a second year medical student at King's College London, and here at Medical Projects this YouTube channel is dedicated to offering you all of our tips and advice to ensure that you get your dream place at medical school. So for today's video I thought we'd talk about work experience, so how we can obtain this work experience, what sort of things you could be organising, why it's important, and most excitingly I've invited some of my medical school friends along to talk about some of the experiences they had with their work experience, so that you can see that there is a variety of things you can be doing. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and without further ado, let's go! So first of all, why is work experience important? Well, quite simply, it allows you to understand the qualities that are going to be necessary in order to be a good doctor, and it helps you understand the kind of career that you're going to be going into. Now, I don't blame you if you've watched Grey's Anatomy and you think this is an awesome job, we're going to be saving lives every 5 minutes, but you'll soon realise when you do your work experience that a lot of being a junior doctor is simply filling out paperwork and doing general admin duties. Unfortunately, you're probably not going to be performing those life-saving acts every 2 minutes, and that's why it's important to have a realistic outlook on what a career in medicine is actually like. Now, before I talk about the different sorts of work experience you can be doing, whenever you're on your work experience, I want you to be thinking in the back of your mind, what qualities have I identified this doctor showing? So for example, when I was on my work experience, I watched a scoliosis corrective surgery, and I noticed that the main surgeon had really excellent teamwork skills because he was organising the scrub nurses, the anaesthetists, and keeping them informed throughout the operation so that it ran really smoothly and safely. And you're going to be talking about these kind of things in your personal statement, so it's essential that you're keeping a note of the things that you've noticed, and then you can take that and write about it in your personal statement, because you want to be showing the admissions tutors that not only have you identified these qualities that are an important aspect of being a good doctor, you want to further this by saying, I've shown this myself. So as I was saying, I noticed that the surgeon showed really excellent teamwork skills, and I've shown that myself in real life because I'm the captain of a football team and I manage loads of different team players. And that is why the work experience component of the medical school application is essential, because it allows you to spell out to the admissions tutors that you've identified the qualities that are important, and more importantly, you've shown these yourself. Now, I'm going to be talking about how we might effectively write about this in the next video, but for now, just keep that in mind. So what sort of work experience should you be getting? I think there are really two distinct categories. So the first is going to be shadowing opportunities. So most people think about shadowing a doctor in a hospital. As you can imagine, these are very difficult to obtain. It is especially more difficult if you haven't got doctors in the family like I hadn't. So what I ended up doing was I reached out to friends and I asked, do you have any doctors who are contacts? I hear you're applying for medicine, do you have anyone you can put me in contact with? And I did it that way. Honestly, you'll end up emailing probably, 20, 30 doctors, and maybe one will get back to you. But you only need one, so just persevere as much as possible. I know it's really frustrating. Many hospital trusts also offer work experience programs, so you might be able to get onto a 2 or 3 day work experience program, but look on your local trust website and see if that's something they offer, and if it's not very clear, just give them a ring and see if there's anything they can do for you. Another option would be to shadow a GP. Now, even if you have a really good relationship with your GP, there's unfortunately a policy that you can't shadow your local GP due to confidentiality issues. But there's no harm in asking them if they can put you in contact with a different GP in a different practice that's not local to you, and that might be a really good way to get some work experience that way. So in case you're interested about some of the work experience I did, when it came to shadowing, I shadowed a gynecologist for a week, which was so amazing, and I got to see a laparoscopic hysterectomy, which was awesome. I also got to shadow an orthopedic surgeon, and I saw a scoliosis corrective surgery that honestly made me nearly faint, but it was an amazing experience. Now, the second category of work experience is what I would like to call volunteering, and in my opinion, this is the most impressive work experience you can get. So even if you can't obtain those really oversubscribed hospital placements, definitely go for something like this. So what I mean by volunteering is it might be that you're assisting with meal times in a care hospice, or you're helping out every Saturday at a local care home. More often than not, these places are so willing to have volunteers help out, and you might even be able to get a position as a HCA, for example, in some of these environments. The way I recommend going about this is just ringing up local care homes, asking if you can come in and speak to the volunteering coordinator or speak to the manager and see if they have any opportunities available. The reason these positions are so good is because it shows your long-term commitment to medicine. If you can show the admissions tutors that you've been showing up once a week to assist with meal times over a period of 6 months, that is going to show your dedication to medicine and show that this is a career that you're heavily invested in. So when it came to my work experience, I volunteered in a palliative care hospice for just over a year. I went 2 times a week and I helped with meal times. I spoke to the patients and I interacted with their families. I was in charge of making teas and coffees, and I was in charge of taking them out to the garden and keeping them as happy as possible. I actually did that at a local Sue Ryder care hospice, and I definitely recommend looking into them if you have one that's local to you. Also, now I'm working as a HCA in my local community hospitals. There's quite a high demand for HCAs, especially during COVID, so definitely look into that if you're really struggling to get any placement. So I could sit here and talk to you for hours about the numerous different things you could be getting involved with, but I thought it would be a bit more fun if we got some contributions from some people that have gotten into medical school, and you can see the variety of work experience they obtained. So without further ado, let's listen to some of the work experience that these medical students obtained.
Hi, I'm Julia, and so from my work experience I did a few different things. I did some more conventional things like being a healthcare assistant and shadowing GPs and hospital doctors in different departments. But I also found some more niche things. So I'm interested in performing and music, so I shadowed a performing arts orthopedics doctor. So doing something a bit more niche can help you stand out. I also did quite a lot of volunteering. I did things with care homes, but also things like teaching music to children and prisoners, which although isn't care related, it shows a commitment to working with different demographics of people. And finally, I did quite a lot of mental health and disability campaigning, which although isn't directly health related, shows an interest in people with health conditions and mental health. And I wrote articles for things like Student Minds, the charity, their blog, and helped edit their blog, which really did help look good on my application.
Hi guys, I'm Ronak and I'm a current second year medical student studying in London, and before getting into medical school I was also a biomedical science graduate. I'd like to quickly tell you guys a bit about my work experience and what that involved. I start off with, I did a 2-week placement in the Dominican Republic, where I was able to shadow doctors over there and get a feel for how their emergency departments, how their surgeries work, and the different medical departments that they offered, and just to see how different that was compared to that we have over here in the UK. I was also a ward befriender volunteer when I was studying in my last degree, where I was able to talk directly with patients, keep them company, and just to sort of create a sort of friendly atmosphere, because in hospitals sometimes it can get very lonely for patients, and just to make a sort of slight difference to them, to make them happy, was just a great opportunity. Back when I was in school, I also did another short placement where that was a shadowing opportunity, where I was able to get a proper feel for how the NHS works, the different roles that we have in terms of doctors, nurses, HCAs, etc. And that was a really great opportunity to start the work experience I wanted to build it up for my medical school application. But just to wrap it up, guys, I wish you all the best for your future medical school applications.
My name is Dasha and I'm a second year medical student at the University of Manchester. I did 3 work experiences and I didn't do any volunteering. My first work experience was at a cancer lab, my second work experience was at a GP, and my third one was at a children's hospital. I'm from London, so all my work experiences were here. For the first 2, I pretty much asked people I knew, anybody who worked in a health or scientific background. For my hospital work experience, there was Evelina's Children's Hospital quite near my school in central London. So I sent a draft email to 20 consultants. About 5 replied back, but only 1 of them was able to accept me. So don't be disheartened if you don't hear from anybody. Just send a whole bunch of emails forward and you'll definitely, hopefully, get something.
Hey everyone, my name is Zane and I'm starting medicine at the University of Sheffield this September. And for my work experience, I shadowed junior doctors in a hospital setting for a week, and I guess that's what a lot of people tend to do. But apart from that, I also volunteered for St John's Ambulance, where I gained necessary first aid skills to become a first aider, and that is something I'd really recommend because it looks great on your personal statement and it is totally free on top of that as well. I also volunteered in an elderly care home and in a primary school, and you may wonder what has that got to do with medicine, but what it shows is that you can demonstrate those necessary communication skills to talk to people from one age group and from a totally different age group as well. So feel free to follow me on Instagram at medheads2020, where I provide free A-level resources, study tips, UCAT tips to help you get into medicine.
So as you can see from the clips, there are so many different things you can do. You can volunteer abroad, hopefully when coronavirus calms down. You can work with St. John's Ambulance. You can volunteer at a local care hospice. There are so many different things you can do. Also, try and bear in mind where you'd like to apply to at university, because often on their website they'll offer lots of advice about work experience they really like to see and work experience that maybe is not so relevant to their application. So that's all I really want to say about the different work experience you can obtain. My main takeaway point from this video is that you do not need to simply have shadowing work experience. There are so many other things you can do. Shadowing is so competitive to get a place on, and if you can't do that, it doesn't make your medical application any weaker in any respect. Thank you so much once again to the medical students that contributed to today's video. That was so informative, and it's always so useful to hear about people that have got their place at medical school and see what they did in order to be successful. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and found it informative. If you have any further questions or want some advice, leave your questions in the comments below. If you've had any really interesting work experience opportunities, please feel free to share them in the comments below as well. Make sure you've subscribed if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!